It's time to focus on the things you need, the things you deserve. You deserve a healthy body, supplements that get you moving and keep you moving, that make you feel good, look good, do good. And they shouldn't contain GMOs, artificial ingredients, or heavy metals, ever. Supplements that are clinically studied, use proven absorption technologies, are designed by scientists, and are ethically sourced and produced. Supplements with everything you need, nothing you don't. You deserve a company that you can trust, that's dedicated to safe manufacturing practices and third-party testing, that ensures the highest quality of effectiveness from extraction of ingredients all the way to the composition of the packaging. Wait a second. You deserve to see the process. You deserve a company led by a CEO with a deep belief in the power of people, dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurs to achieve success. A company with a phytonutrient chemist and expert on natural molecules who is obsessed with human health and has your best interest in mind to design its products. A board comprised of talented doctors from around the world. You deserve to be surrounded by people you trust and look up to. Empowered ambassadors that inspire wellness every day. Leaders who are rooting for you to be the best version of yourself. A community that works hard and plays hard. You deserve to experience adventures that take you around the world, and you deserve to be recognized for your hard work. It's time to get what you deserve. It's time to shift your focus. 3.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. My name is Antoinette Stanton, and normally I'm chatting with you from Dallas, Texas. But today I am visiting my family in South Jersey. And I'm so excited to be in my mother's beautiful home to bring you one of my favorite subjects ever, which is time management. You see, the other day, someone said to me, Antoinette, if you only had one thing that you wanted to talk to someone about how I have had a successful, now I can't even believe it, 23 years in network marketing, what would you talk about? And I always say time management. Let me let you think about why I'm going to say time management. You see, I want each of you to grab a pen and a piece of paper because in a minute, I'm going to give you a quiz. But let's back up a little bit and talk about who I am and how I got involved in network marketing. I didn't just wake up one day and say, wow, I think I want to have this different type of career. No, I did wake up and say I wanted to be a corporate mom. That was always my dream. I always wanted to work for a big company and a big corporation. Now, I will tell you guys, most of you know I fell in love with my husband at the age of 1. No, honestly, the age of 14. But as we got older, I said, okay, I'm going to be that, person that works that job every day. And my husband said, okay, I'm going to work also, but I'm blessed that he says, I'm going to do some of the chores at home so you can work 60, 70 hours a week and travel maybe 14 days out of a month. And we both thought that was going to be our life. Now, the beautiful thing is that it was working for us until my daughter was 7, my son was 2, and my other son was 3. And how many of you can say that you loved what you were doing, but you were missing out on life? Life was passing me by so fast. And although I loved working, I am a workaholic, but what I didn't love I didn't love missing every event. I didn't love that whenever they asked me to do something at my church, at the school, with my husband, I would have to say, nah, sorry, I'm in China or I'm in LA, I'm somewhere else. So, how this whole thing came about is I met someone called Christine Peterson. And I think all of you know Christine Peterson, but this was 23 years ago. And 23 years ago, while I was being a busy corporate mom, Christine said to me, Antoinette, do you want to live that life forever? And I said, well, no, I would love freedom and flexibility. And she said to me, then you have to change something in your life to get there. And I said to Christine Peterson 23 years ago, but I don't have time because I work a 60, 70-hour job. I have 3 little kids. I have a husband, church, volunteering here. I'm doing all of this. How can it happen? And she said to me, I'm going to give you a plan. And let's try it out and see what happens. Now, I just want you to know this is my story. This is my personal story. I didn't quite believe her when she said that, but she said to me, Antoinette, can you just give me 10 hours a week? And I thought, I don't know, but I'll try. But I want all of you to know that in the very beginning, me squeezing in 10 hours a week, within 1 year, I was able to walk away from my corporate obligations, my corporate job. And now it's been 22 years that I've had freedom and flexibility to do what I want. Now, I didn't walk away from my career. I loved what I was doing, but I wasn't tied to it. I was able to do what I wanted when I wanted. But I want to talk to you guys about today. Remember, did you grab that pencil and pen? I'm about to get you to write something down. What I want to talk to you about is that I was able to create my own life in so many different seasons of my life. When my children were small, I was able to create a life that, yes, I was that mom that picked up their kids every day after school. But I was also that mom that still had a business and still had money. I was that mom when my daughter decided that she wanted to take 2 months off to search for a special college that her and I could travel the United States because I could travel with my business and we could do that. I was that mom that at the age 14, when suddenly my son had a disorder that came up and he needed attention, I was that mom that was able to take time off for 5 years to focus on my son, to focus on getting him the best care that he could have. But because of network marketing, because of other streams of income in network marketing, I still had an income coming in. I could pause, but my business kept going. I'm also that mom that worked through putting all of my kids through school, dropping them off. And now I'm at the stage of my life where my husband is retired. I am that wife that could, although I don't want to, go fishing with my husband every weekend. I am that wife that has time to do things that others may not have time. But I'm also the daughter of 2 parents that now I'm working on how do I spend more time with them. And so throughout my life, because of network marketing, I've had more time. But some of you, you're thinking, but how? How did it happen? How did you get there? Okay, here's where I want your pencil and paper to come into play. Okay, I want you to write this down because so many people say to me, I don't have the time. So let's go over. I think when we look at it, we all have the same work week. We all have the same hours. One thing that we can't change is time. It's just what you do with your time. So let's just review. I want you, now this is what should happen. I want all of you to write down sleep because you should sleep 8 hours a night. So let's say 56 hours for you to sleep. Next, I want you to write down if you are a typical person. And trust me, I know today things are different. But let's say you work 40 hours a week. Let's put down 40 hours a week. How about commuting? And see, a lot of you don't commute anymore back and forth to work. You just commute from your kitchen to your living room. But let's say you do have to drive to work. Let's give it 5 hours. 5 hours. Now, hopefully, all of you get up, get ready. Maybe you have to go to a beauty salon. For the men, you have to go get your grooming done. So let's give yourself 7 hours for grooming. We are all eating, right? Because we all know how important our diet is. But for eating, now I don't cook, but if you did cook, but let's have time, even time to order DoorDash. Let's give it 7 hours for a meal, for eating, for cooking. Now, some of you may hire someone, but some of you, this is typical. I want you to say you have to do your laundry and clean. Let's give that 7 hours. Now, we all have different activities that we want to do. Some of us, it's church. Some of us, it's other spiritual things that you like to do. Let's throw in 3 hours for that, although a lot of us are now online. Now, this is something that I absolutely love. Let's talk about shopping. Me, I think I need more hours than this. But how about 3 hours for shopping? Now, when I say shopping, it could be running errands, going to the post office, anything. Let's put 3 hours down. And then I'm going to throw in family time, friends, or personally, whatever you like to do, exercising, whatever activities you like to have. That's 21 hours. So now I want you to draw a line and add that up. That's 149 hours. Guess how many hours are in a work week? 168 hours. And I think I pretty much threw in everything you had to do. Some of you may change it around. You still have 19 hours left in a week. Now, we always talk about this. Have any of you ever done a budget, a financial budget, and you write down everything you spend for 1 week and you realize, I can't believe I spend so much money on this? Because it seems like it's only $1 here or $2 there or $3 there. And then your budget is blown away. Well, I want you to think of your time exactly the same way. With everything I put down, there's still 19 hours left. What are you doing with your extra time? What are you doing with it? You heard me say that 23 years ago, Christine Peterson asked me if I would give her 10 hours and she would change my life. I am here today to tell you that those 10 hours has changed my life in so many ways, not just financially, spiritually, physically. It has changed my life because I could take 10 hours. Now, I want some of you to think about how much time do you spend watching your favorite show on Netflix? How much time do you spend watching Max or something like that? How much time do you spend maybe on thoughts and things that you shouldn't? I want you to think about shifting that around and how it could change your life. So now you're like, okay, I get it, 10 hours. But what am I going to do with those 10 hours? And where am I going to squeeze those 10 hours out? I hear this all the time. Antoinette, you just don't understand how busy I am. And I say, you're absolutely correct. I don't understand how busy you are. So let's write it down. So hopefully you wrote down what I said. Now this is homework number 2. I would love for you to take a week and write down everything that you do. And I want you to be specific. I want you to say, on Monday, I typically get up at 7. Takes me an hour to get ready. I do this, I do that, but I need you to write it down on a piece of paper. And you are going to take an inventory of your time. And you may say to me, and I want to share a story with you. I had someone that did this, and that's what she did. She wrote down all of her different time. And in the end, she said to me, Antoinette, the only day that I have is Sunday between, maybe 4 or 5 hours on a Sunday. And I said to her, well, guess what? We're going to take those 4 or 5 hours on a Sunday, and we're going to do the best we can with those days. Now, did it take her a little bit longer to build her business? Absolutely, it did. We started on one Sunday, then we went to the next Sunday. Within 4 months, she had earned extra money that she no longer had to have the schedule that she had before with her regular job. It opened up money for her so she didn't have to work her overtime, so that now she added a little bit more time. But the beauty of this story is that just on that one day, she built a very successful business. Just on that one day, 6 months later, she didn't know that her life was going to change. 9 months later, she didn't know that her son, who had cancer, she was going to need to take care of him. But because she started out evaluating her time, she had built her business up enough that she could go part-time on her original job. You see, you have to start wherever you can start. Here's the thing I want to tell you. If you do not plan out your week, if you do not plan out your time, someone else will plan your time for you. And that's what I see all the time, is that because you don't have different things that you want to do, then you tend to say, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do this. The week is gone and you haven't had any time at all to work on your business. But let's go back. Let's say you're thinking, I work 7 days a week. When am I going to have time? And I know some of you are thinking, who works 7 days a week? There are people that work 7 days a week. So do you know what I say to them? How about we take an hour a day? And they go, an hour a day? That's a lot. But I want you guys to think about this. What if in the morning you wake up just a little bit earlier and you take 15 minutes in the morning before your day gets going to maybe jot down some notes for what you're going to do? How about at lunchtime, instead of buying your lunch, you prepare your lunch on the weekends. Now at lunchtime, you can take 30 minutes. This is something that I did. You take 30 minutes during lunch and you make phone calls during lunch. Then, let's say work is over and you're driving home. Now, this is for the men and the women in the room with children. Before you open the door, you stay in your car and you make maybe a couple of phone calls. And then you say, but when do I get my training in? How about you, instead of listening to TV, you're listening to your training? You see, you're just shifting your time to fit in. Now, will you have to do this forever? Absolutely not. Will you have to maybe double up for a little bit? Absolutely. And I'm going to tell so many of you, I remember when I first started, and I remembered that I was working 60, 70 hours a week. And I remember that I would tell my friends that on Sunday evenings, it's the only time that I could work my business between 7 and 9 o'clock. And it would be summer. And we'd all be together, me and all of my friends. And I'd say to them, do you have an extra room? Because I know that we're all together with our kids in the pool, but I need to stick to my 7 to 9 o'clock. And I remember, and some of you are going to get this, I remember them saying to me, you started network marketing because you said you were going to have freedom and flexibility. You started this to spend more time with your family, but you don't have time for your family and your friends. It's a Sunday and you have to go upstairs and you have to work for 2 hours. And I would say to them, yes, you're correct. But I want you to know, I only had to do that for a year. Now I've had 22 years of freedom that I don't have to do anything on Sunday if I don't want to. So I want some of you to think about that right now you may have to get up earlier. Instead of getting up at 7 o'clock, maybe you get up at 6 o'clock. Instead of you watching your favorite TV show, you watch training instead of that. Instead of right now, and I'm not saying forever, but if you think of anyone that opens any business, they don't quite get to have the vacation and the time that everyone else may have in the beginning. But I will tell you, what I love so much is that I control my own time because 23 years ago, I listened to Christine Peterson, who told me that if I would just give it 10 hours, what a difference. So now let's fast forward. And this is really important. I honestly just celebrated I started 2 years ago last week with 3 International. I started, but at the time, I was running 5 different businesses. And at the time, I thought to myself, how am I going to squeeze 3 in? But I remembered that Christine Peterson, 23 years ago, said to me, Antoinette, give me 10 hours, I'll change your life. Well, she repeated it again to me. She says, Antoinette, I know your husband's retired. I know that you're in a different mode. I know your kids are older and you're probably relaxed. But I'll never forget when Christine said to me, there are times that you have to know that you're in the right place at the right time. And what she said to me was, you're settling. You did great. I am very blessed because of network marketing to have a comfortable life with a comfortable home, with a wonderful family, with a wonderful career. And I will look back and say that I never missed an event that I ever wanted to miss with family and friends. But how many of you are just comfortable? Christine Peterson said to me, let's do it one more time. I want you to come out one more time. And I want you to give your time, because now, Antoinette, you can teach others. Now you can teach others to have freedom and flexibility. You can teach single moms how they can make extra money. You can teach families that are struggling today because they may need just an extra $200 or $300, how they can make extra money. But also, being in a brand new company like 3 International, you can teach others to have more of an abundant lifestyle. So she asked me to do it one more time. So what I want to say to you tonight is, what's holding you back? What is distracting you from being the best person that you can be? I want you to take inventory of your time. And it may be one day a week. It may be 2 days a week. It may be just 2 days a month that you're able to build your network, that you're able. And I promise you, even if it's 2 days a month, every month, it'll get better and better and better. And I want you to know that all of your mentors, all of your leaders, all of us that have enjoyed this life of network marketing, we are talking to you about buckling up and doing work now so that you can have the freedom, the flexibility, the love, the care that we are all sharing today. So I'm going to encourage you. And if you need help, I would help you with your time management. But I will tell you, just reach up, because those that you reach up to, they've done this before. They know how to do this. They know how to help you to squeeze this in. One last thing I forgot to mention. Someone said to me, I'm a single mom. Who's going to babysit my kids? It's too expensive. The first thing that I want you to do as a single mom is find another single mom. You want to know why? Because you'll take turns and you'll help each other and you'll find the time. And then eventually you'll be able to hire a nanny, and that'll be the happiest day of your life. So to break the ice of something that's so serious, I did want to throw that story in. But I do want you to remember that all of us have 19 extra hours. The difference between successful people and non-successful people is that they pay attention to time, because time will move on with or without you. So thank you so much for letting me share with you tonight from South Jersey, where I'm spending time with my family. But in the future, I cannot wait to spend more time with you. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I can't wait to see you at our next event. Good night.